Yep.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I was deeply saddened to hear that voice actor and comedian Johnny Hardwick passed away this week, at the far too young age of 64 years old, genuinely a tragedy, especially for those closest to him and for those who worked with him on TV shows such as King of the Hill. And Hardwick cared a lot about the projects he was involved in. He appeared extremely humble about the fortunate path his career took, and he even kept the character of Dale Gribble going long after the King of the Hill series ended in 2010. And if you're a fan of the character, definitely go ahead and check out Johnny's personal YouTube channel. There's some very funny improv comedy, mostly him performing hilariously bad cover music as Dale.
Imagine all the people you don't like.
But paying tribute to the voice actor, one of my immediate thoughts after learning of the man's passing is something I felt would be a worthy topic for discussion in a video. What will become of the announced King of the Hill reboot, and how can the reboot continue without him? Dale Gribble, for those that don't know, is an extremely important character on the show, being a close friend and next-door neighbour to the show's protagonist, Hank Hill, and right from the very beginning, Dale was one of the best characters who often stole an episode. In the original series, there are so many incredible Dale moments to reflect on, and a lot of this comes from the impeccable dialogue delivery from Hardwick. Plus, I know he was a huge influence behind the scenes, which likely helped create a lot of the organic feeling comedy that we can all appreciate from the show looking back on it. And with Dale Gribble being a fan favourite for many reasons, he was involved in many engaging plot threads throughout the show's 13-season run. Personally, I really enjoyed the character for his abrupt mannerisms, bizarre conspiracy theories, and hilarious one-liners that have stood the test of time.
Pocket sand.
With all this said, Dale is an integral part of the series, so much so that if I'm not mistaken, Johnny performed the voice in every single episode bar just one where the character just wasn't featured. It's also worth noting that several other voice actors from the series are sadly no longer with us. Brittany Murphy, who voiced Luann Platter, passed away before the last few episodes of Season 13 could air on television. Again, this being another core character being Peggy Hill's niece, where I would have expected her to either be written out of the series versus being recast for the reboot. Similarly, musician Tom Petty played a recurring role being the husband of Luann, named Lucky, and he wasn't in many episodes, but by the end he was cemented as a recognisable part of the show, and I'd like to think with both Luann and Lucky's voiceovers no longer being with us, they would have both been written out of the reboot, really out of respect if nothing else. Luann was a huge part of the earlier seasons, but other characters took the forefront once she moved out of the family home. Therefore, the series could still function perfectly fine with the remaining core characters. Looking at what we do know about the King of the Hill revival, this was rumoured to be happening for years without any official confirmation. We still know very little about the specific details of this project, but it was apparently being worked on in the background over at 20th Century Fox for a very long time, and personally, I didn't really believe this was ever going to happen. Things of course did change when Fox was taken over by Disney in 2019, and rumours continued behind the scenes only for the revival to be officially announced at the start of this year, where Hulu has picked up the show for a new season, but for an unconfirmed amount of episodes. And the original show creators, Mike Judge and Greg Daniels, are set to return, plus all the major cast members were announced to be reprising their roles as well. And one key element of the reboot that I feel is the most interesting part going forward is that a time jump has been confirmed. How much time is unknown, but I would say at least 10 years to really change the dynamics of the show. And in this amount of time, Hank and Peggy will be in their later years approaching retirement, Bobby will be out of school with a career of his own, Luann and Lucky, if recast, could still stick around the neighbourhood where we'd see their child growing up in Arlen, Texas, or potentially due to the unfortunate circumstances surrounding their voice actors, they could have been written to have moved away from Arlen in the reboot. All the neighbouring characters are set to feature. Dale, Bill, Boomhauer, Khan, etc. will likely have their own things going on, with room to focus on their characters and individual families where applicable. And there's a lot of potential behind this. It kind of reminds me of those occasional episodes of The Simpsons where we'd see all the familiar characters 10 to 20 years into the future, and a time jump really does open some incredible possibilities, and is something I feel animated TV shows really should embrace more often in order to keep things feeling fresh and engaging. And so with that said, what does the future hold for the reboot now under current circumstances? Truthfully, there is very little info available on the reboot to begin with, so we can really only begin to speculate on how far along the reboot in itself actually is. Let's say, similar to the recent Futurama revival, each new season is 10 episodes. At best, the first run of 10 episodes has been written, therefore, based on the confirmation that Johnny Hardwick would be returning to play Dale, you can guarantee the character will have at least been brought back and scripted. In terms of production, the revival has officially been announced. This was done at the start of the year 2023, so there's no release date as such, nor has there been any form of teaser trailer given, etc. So I'd say we're pretty early on. It's likely the show has only just entered the animation phase, where, again, more than likely, dialogue has already been recorded so the animators can actually complete the new episodes based around this voiceover. If so, Johnny has likely already recorded new dialogue for the character. Whether this is for the complete revival or just a select few episodes is up for debate. I'd seen some comments on the King of the Hill subreddit saying he recorded apparently 6 episodes but not the complete run. I'd take this with a pinch of salt as I couldn't really find any verified sources on this. By all means, if you have insider information from a reliable source, then let me know in the comments. With this taken into consideration, with the project already in production, and the amount of money spent on the reboot, it's probably too late to pull the plug at this point. Regardless of absent actors or characters, this reboot is going ahead no matter what. And I just cannot see production suddenly shutting down under current circumstances. It's a tough situation. But at the end of it all, this is just the entertainment industry. It's nothing personal. Whether a new season of the show is released with only the completed episodes, or Dale is just inexplicably absent for part of the new run, I feel the sudden passing of Johnny Hardwick is going to be damaging to the show no matter what. Is it even worth resurrecting the series under these circumstances? Well, apparently there was something worth having in the form of a revival to begin with, and with the amount of success creator Mike Judge has achieved with the new Beavis and Butthead show, arguably rivaling the original series with its unique levels of comedy, I do trust him to nurture a project like this in a similar vein. And I guess looking at things more positively in favour of the show, with Dale's importance taken into account, I feel it's fair to say a recast is most likely on the cards. Although the show will be different thanks to the time jump, we are still catching up with familiar characters and finding out what's new with them. Maybe cigarettes finally caught up with Dale and so his voice got heavier, and as a result, the voice changed. Right there, an easy method of introducing a new voice actor that could sound similar to Dale, but as we know, will be different for obvious reasons. Just again, more speculation. Writing the character out completely would be a shame, but is a last resort. Some fans were suggesting opening the revival with Dale's funeral, which in my opinion would not do wonders for the reboot at all. Sure, it will be a loving way to pay tribute to Johnny Hardwick and honour the character he played, but it just wouldn't seem right in the show's spirit. Other fans had some hilarious ideas on the other hand, such as Dale getting abducted by aliens, which I'm sure he would love, or finally getting caught and put in prison for his estranged anti-government behaviour. There's definitely some quirky things to this character that could be used to remove him from the show, but I really hope it won't come to that. In all likelihood, it's probably far too late to remove Dale Gribble from the reboot. If it's still going ahead, Johnny Hardwick likely contributed some voiceover, which I imagine will be his final acting credits. It's a sad situation for fans of the show to acknowledge when something like this happens, and for those involved with producing such a beloved television classic, the decision-making behind the scenes is not going to be easy. As a fan, I just hope it's all done for the best. Fingers crossed there will at least be some new Dale Gribble content to appreciate if or when the revival does get released. New King of the Hill content set years into the future has a lot of positive potential behind it, And I do hope we get to at least see some of this, honouring those who are sadly no longer with us. But that's going to do it for this speculatory video on King of the Hill's reboot status. Be sure to comment down below your thoughts on how you feel the future of this animated series is going to be handled. Be sure to leave me a like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, DVD Review Studios.
Are you threatening me?